Hello, everybody. On today's episode, I have on a guest who has been a hypnotist for over a decade. He is known as the Mind Mechanic and helps people through hypnotherapy every day. He helps people quit smoking, losing weight, and releasing trauma and all sorts of different mental issues. Everybody, welcome Ray Williams to the show.
Yay, Ray!
Howdy.
welcome to
Well,
welcome
by
to the
the
show,
way,
Ray. How are you?
I'm well. It's over a decade. I'm now in my 21st year of doing hypnosis.
Wow, 21st. How about
Wow.
that? It's amazing. And Mimi is here as well.
Hello, live and in color.
Yes, Mimi is her first video appearance. Mimi is very excited. Mimi and Ray go way back.
Yeah, we go about almost 6 years, 5 to 6 years back. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, it blew me away when you sent me the email. It had the date on there. It was like 5 years ago.
Yep. I had to go search my emails and see how long ago was that?
Five
But
and a half
yeah,
years
so
ago.
I've been a non-smoker for 5+ years.
Well,
Yay.
congratulations.
Thanks to Ray.
Yeah, where's
All thanks to Ray. Oh, for cheering. So the kids are happy about that.
Yeah, I quit smoking myself a few years ago, and using probably similar techniques that Mimi used. Just I didn't have someone to help me with it, but it's Mimi and I have we're kindred spirits that, and a lot of things she's experienced, I've experienced at least to some
Degree.
scale. Yeah. Yeah, that it was.
Can't say I've had all your experiences though.
Well, not many can, but we share a lot. So when Mimi was as excited as she was to tell me about you, because I was asking her one day, I was like, "Is there anyone you want to have on the show?" And right away, she's Ray. I want to have Ray on. And at first, I'm thinking her father, her stepfather, and I'm just like, why? What do you want to talk to Ray about? And then she never said your last name to me, and then she told me all about you, and I was like, oh, okay, sounds really interesting. And now having a hypnotherapist on the show, or is that what you go by, a hypnotherapist?
Actually, I dropped the therapist part about 10 years ago. And it's kind of a play on words. Some people want my help, but they don't necessarily want therapy.
Right.
Over the years, I wound up doing a blend of hypnosis, counseling, neurolinguistic programming, and coaching. I put it all together. People want help, but they don't want the therapy. And people get hung up on the word therapy. So some people say, well, in the past, I'm a hypnotherapist.
I think people just want to be told what to do to fix it.
A lot
do
of
you
people
fix
just want
me?
the easy button. They want to be
Yeah,
fixed.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and therapy does have this little feel to it, I guess, as a word in general.
It's a word, and there's people out there who don't even call themselves anything, and they just do the same thing I do,
Right.
Like there's some good Dr. blah blah blahs out there, and I know a guy who's a chiropractor, and he's out there doing the speaking tour, and it's what's the name? What's it? It's like you said,
Right.
people just want results. They don't care about what you call yourself. So many people get hung up on it, I know, but me, I dropped it. Life's good.
Mhm.
Actually, now I'm known as the Mind Mechanic.
Yeah, that's
I'm
cool.
known
I
as-
like that.
Yeah. People go, oh, really? Yeah. Another last few years, I've been through osmosis. I wound up niching in the solo entrepreneur area. So I became the marketer's hypnotist. So mainly that's more what I've been known as, other than therapy. But now the therapy, it's pretty much gone. But now just how can I help you is what my attitude is.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, that's exactly what my show's for, helping other people, sharing everybody's different characteristics and techniques and how we can all end up healing ourselves. You can go through the library of my episodes and you can pick out the one that helped you most. And hopefully that helps you on your path, whoever it may be. And so I love having the different spectrums, and you're the first hypnotist, that's someone that has that type of background, and I'm very intrigued by it. I've never been hypnotized myself, but I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't know if I can," and all the hypnotists always say everybody can, but it's always just this, this carrot on the stick, so to speak, for me. The hypnotist has always been intrigued me, but I've never went after it. So getting to talk to you is going to be a great honor.
Everybody can. They're not kidding you. Let me show you something. Take my little whiteboard here. It's not so little. People go, really? I can't be. Yeah. True story. Years ago, I was doing a seminar, and lady came by who was actually coincidentally a smoking client. And she just came by her last session. This is when I still had a brick and mortar office. And she came by to thank me. She said, I don't need my last session. I don't have any cravings, anything. Maybe you can relate to that.
I can. After my very last session, after my very last time talking to you, I didn't need to call you again. Now, I did, but I didn't need to.
So she just stopped by to give me a big hug and say, I'm done. She had heard I was doing a small seminar that night. She said, can I come? I said, of course. Famous last words, can I bring my husband? Sure. So I'm 5'7" and shrinking, and here comes husband. But he could have been a shoe-in for one of the ZZ Top characters. Beard down to his belly button, about 6'4", comes up. I'll bet you can't hypnotize me. I look up, think quick, shook his hand. You're right. I walk away. And he starts following me, right? I said, look, who's your favorite actor? Sylvester Stallone. Okay. Would you walk in when the theater was still open and in vogue, pay your $10, walk in and say, this movie's going to suck ahead of time? No. I said, this is all about co-participating in an experience. So it's me and you kind of blending our energy together so you can have a pleasant experience.
Yep.
I said, you can stay for the lecture. I said, when it's time for the group induction, you got to leave. And his exact words, can I use his exact words? It's not my words, but he said,
You can.
Ray, I wasn't trying to be an asshole. I really didn't know. He said, can I please stay? It's okay. So I explained to him, and him and his wife, front row. 15 minutes into the group induction, here's him. Boom, hits the ground. I just stepped over him. Yep, can't be hypnotized. True story.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, Todd, I'm gonna ask you a question.
All
Have
right.
you watched TV in your life?
I have.
Okay. I'll stretch it to make a point a little bit here. Have you ever had a day where you might have gone to obviously you're working from your place now, but you've gone someplace, you put a long shift in, you come home and you're just dog tired, you don't want to play with anything, you don't want to mess around, you just want to sit on the couch, put on the boob tube and be left alone, right?
Of course.
Okay, so put on the boob tube, and there is the movie of a year ago that you fell asleep during. Wow, I can see the end of this now. So you put it on, you're on the couch, but meanwhile, you still had a crappy 10-hour day. So you're watching it. And after a while, you're still going, right?
Right.
Okay. You know what that is? You're not asleep, but you're not quite as awake as you were a few minutes
Right.
ago. That's light level hypnosis.
Okay.
Light
Yeah,
level.
I know that the roads are designed and the radio signal is designed in order to do this to somebody. So
That's right.
the yellow lines, every so often it puts your eyes at rest. So then the music can get in deeper into your subconscious.
Mm-hmm. True. So now, let's take the same movie, same Todd. A few minutes later, now you're about, let's say, about 6-7 minutes into it. There you're going. Okay, I'm just gonna lay
That's
here
my
and
eyes.
listen to it with my eyes closed, right? Who hasn't done
Yep.
that?
Right.
All the time.
That is considered an alpha 2 level of consciousness or medium level hypnosis.
Okay. I sort of do that with my meditations. I'm a very avid
you go.
meditator, and I do that with music, and it's actually I put myself in a trance, but I'm not
Yeah.
so. Sometimes I get deeper than others, but I'm in that state often.
Bingo. You know what percentage of the population goes into that level?
100.
Nope. About 60% go into medium.
Oh, okay.
So now let's take the same good Todd, good TV, good couch. Let's say we're about 15 minutes into it, 20 minutes in. You barely hear the TV, barely. And the phone rings and Mimi's home. You go, she thinks I'm sleeping. She can answer it. That is deep level hypnosis. You know what percentage of the population goes into deep?
20%.
So watch this. So we got
I think I wrote a big number.
20% go to light,
Oh, you got it.
60% medium, 20% deep. What percentage of the population can go into a state altered consciousness or hypnosis?
100.
There you go, brother. So yes, everybody is hypnotized to one level or another. Why do you think 10:30 at night, those ridiculous commercials come on? Ladies, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds by next week.
The
Men.
shake weight.
They know
Yeah,
you are in,
And the QVC where you just buy everything.
they know you're in a relaxed state of consciousness where the mind is wide open to receiving suggestions. They got you coming and going. True
Yeah.
story.
I never thought of hypnotism in that sense. You're right, but it absolutely happens to everybody on not maybe a daily basis, but on a regular basis. This is happening to all of us.
All of us. Hypnosis, and this is why I love explaining what it is no more than just an altered state of consciousness where you can use this to your benefit for an outcome.
Okay.
And yes, I do meditate. In fact, I do meditation recordings as well. The cool thing about hypnosis is basically call it a directed state of meditation. So you're actually putting things in there that you want the subconscious to receive. Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of diagrams, I feel like diagrams today. I love diagrams.
I remember lots of diagrams.
I gave you a lot of
remember-
it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did. You did.
Yeah,
But they're helpful because I'm a very visual. It helps
I remember
me.
that.
Helps me.
So while Ray's doing that, Mimi, why don't you tell us how you met Ray?
So I met Ray 5+ years ago through my, at the time, yoga instructor, Rebecca Sweeney. Rebecca has since left the yoga world, and she has now created her own form of wellness and movement, and she calls it Sacred Strength and Movement. And if any of the listeners are interested in any of her online classes, they can visit her website at rebecca4all.com. So that's how I met Ray. She went to you for, I don't know, because I guess that's a personal thing, what
yeah,
she
but what
went to you
did
for.
you go
But
there
I
for?
asked her if you did cover how to quit smoking, because I know that wasn't what she went for, but I was curious to know if you could help me with that since you helped her with other things. And she said, yeah, give him a call. He'll do a free consultation. And so
And how long were you
I
a
did it.
smoker?
Maybe since I was like
Since you came out of mom, huh?
14 or 15, I think, like probably 14.
So what
Yeah.
are we talking? 15 years?
Yeah,
So
at least.
And how many sessions did it take to get to the point where you were not a smoker any longer?
Well, I guess Ray would have to explain his process, but maybe what, four
four or
to
five
six, like different Zoom sessions, and then I had homework, and then I had, we had our
So
consultation.
it's a fairly quick turnaround. I mean, I think that's pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, 6 sessions over 6 weeks. It's probably like once a week for 6 weeks. Would you say that's about right?
You had about 5
Ish.
sessions, I remember.
Ish. Okay. And I know I went to you for weight loss. I went to you for smoking, and I went to you for some other things that everybody has issues with. So I think that, you help everyone. You can help anyone.
Well, that's
Well,
amazing.
Anyone who wants help.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right. You
people,
have to want it.
yeah, people think, in fact, I've had people come to me before. Well, I saw this girl in Las Vegas and she was on stage and she took off her blouse. That's stage. Can I do stage? Yeah, I don't do stage. Again, this is about a willing co-participation. I live 2 blocks from a casino here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So if I had these autonomous powers, do the math.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard? Because I just read this in a book I'm reading. I had Bruce DeTorres. He's the author of God School, 9/11, and JFK. I had him on a few weeks back, and I'm reading his book, and it said that Sirhan was hypnotized by these two people. That maybe he wasn't the one that actually shot Robert Kennedy, but that he shot bullets, but they missed in order for the actual shooter to connect. But that two people were running off screaming, "We made him shoot! We made him shoot!" And several witnesses heard this. Have you ever heard of anything as powerful as that taking over someone's mind to have them shoot a gun?
Yeah, I've heard that. And again,
Hmm.
I don't know what they were talking about, but it certainly wasn't hypnosis. Again, all right, in fact, one time I gave an example to a friend who was also turned out to be a client when in my brick and mortar business years ago. Came to see, in fact, she was a referral, and she's the one who actually said, "Ray, I heard this. What about this gal? What about Las Vegas stage shows?" It's okay. I had my hypnosis chair many feet apart away from my desk. It's okay. Now, maybe take a nice, long, slow, deep breath in, relax. One more time. Exhale, allow your eyes to close. Okay. Another breath. Feel relaxed, feeling calm. Okay, good. Exhale, drifting deeper. Now, in the next breath, take off your blouse. Her eyes went boink. And I'm sitting here about 8 feet away smiling. Again, I live 2 blocks from a casino. If hypnosis had those kind of powers, I love what I do. I love helping people with their lives, but guess what? As far as making someone kill someone else or me be able to take gobs of money, no, this
Yeah.
is, again, it's a willing
Willing.
co-participation.
Right.
Yeah, it
Willing.
sounds like some kind of MK Ultra type of deal that
Yeah.
that they worked over for many months or something.
I don't know if the man got injected with drugs or what, but it certainly
Right.
wasn't. I hear so much stuff and I just kind of, okay, yeah. I don't dispel things. I don't, but as far as calling it hypnosis, no, it's
Okay.
not. It's not. It's, again, this is all about the willing.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to another diagram. I
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
was
We
gonna
never got
ask
to that
you.
one
So what
yet.
I was gonna ask you, I remember. Okay, let me rewind. Let's use maybe depressions or addictions or past life traumas. Let's say, how would you explain conscious versus subconscious? And then how would somebody be able to replace or remove negative thoughts, feelings, habits, and
Glad
replace
you asked that question. We
and
did.
replace? I know, but I have to help everyone know
I know
how
it
to
was the question. It
replace
was the
these
question
things.
building up. Okay.
And
All
I know
right.
you do a good diagram with this, so I
Well,
remember.
my board grew and I did not have my eraser handy, so we'll leave that up. All right. Real easy diagram for today. Mind, conscious, subconscious. Your conscious mind functioning is your awake part right now. It's the part you're going, okay, Todd might be going, is this guy a nut? How am I looking? Well, how much time do I have left? All this stuff you're spinning around and around and around and around your mind. The waking, the beta frequency of your mind, okay? Your conscious mind is always judging. We cannot help this. This is the way we're wired. We're coded as humans, as animals, always judging, okay? So judges, it analyzes, and being a lefty on this big board, I also have very crappy handwriting, so it judges, okay? Always, 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 constantly. What percentage of the mind is the conscious part of the mind? Take a guess, guys.
Oh man, I
15.
forget.
Wow. Hang on to that, man.
I am.
Some people will say 15, some people say 25. I like to say about 20%. Okay. About 1/5 of your mind is trying to figure out what you want to be when you grow up, pick out a mate, pick out a partner, figure out how to get rich, blah, 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 all this stuff with this much in your mind. Okay. So the essential of the consciousness, it's your wake state, your judging. Conscious mind. What do you think is the functioning purpose of the subconscious mind?
It's to pick up all the details that you can't hold in your conscious mind. It's the rest of the story, all the background information that's there that you can't hold on to.
Good, good.
Mine is super busy and super full.
Actually, it's got 3 main functions. I'll keep it simple.
It's the KISS technique, right? Keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yeah, I never liked that.
I didn't either.
Yeah. Here. Basically, your subconscious, 3 functions. Runs your body.
Scoot it over just a tad. There
Yeah,
we go.
there
Body,
you go.
beliefs, and acts out. Okay.
Like right now, you guys are not sitting there going, okay, Mimi, breathe in. Maybe breathe out. Heart, keep beating. Todd, talking to your blood pressure. Come on, come on. No. Parasympathetically, it's subconsciously, unconsciously being done for you. Okay. That's why this is so powerful with weight loss. Basically, it's unconsciously working for you.
Hmm.
Your beliefs. Let me show you something. We have beliefs that some are good beliefs, some not so good. Okay. So for instance, let's give me an example of something that keep it light. What is something you want to accomplish right now that, let's say, I don't know, you want to make $1 million. Maybe you have $1 million, I don't know, but I want to make $1 million
Nope,
this
sadly,
year.
we don't.
Okay. Well,
So this will be a good one.
this will be a good one. Todd goes, well, I want to become rich. I go, consciously, go worry about it. So just think rich. Well, you got a part of your mind that kind of sits in between the conscious part and the subconscious part. Called a critical faculty, critical factor. It's kind of like a psychic guard, shall we say. So, and this is where people don't get why affirmations suck so bad. Just think positive. Well, where do those affirmations hit? The conscious part of your mind. They hit 1/5 of the conscious part. Now it gets better. Besides the 1/5 of your mind, this critical guard, imagine it's guarding your existing beliefs about you. Okay. So Todd comes to me, Ray, I want to get rich. Nah, just think rich thoughts. You'd be great. This guard, and if you don't have the money you want right now, odds are you have some limiting beliefs about stopping you from achieving what you want to go get. And as screwed up as this sounds, this guard's job is to hold on to all the beliefs you have about you. Some good beliefs, some not so good. So what do we do? Well, why I walked away from standard psychotherapy years ago, and I'm not, it said there's some great therapists out there, really is, but why I like hypnosis as a tool. What do we do? Okay.
Let your guard down.
So if I said, okay, Todd, now take a nice long, slow, deep breath in. As you exhale, simply allow your eyes to close. Allow your eyes to close. Okay, you close. Now, your name's Todd, right?
Right.
Your name's Todd. This guard is part of you. It's a part of your mind. So if you're closing your eyes, this guard, it has to close his eyes too. So the guard has to take his gun and put his gun down, his rifle down. You're shutting your eyes, this guard's shutting his eyes. Okay. We are then able to pass. I love this one.
Ah, little
We
tunnel.
bypass the guard, because the guard's got his eyes closed.
Mm.
He's relaxed. We then will go
Infiltrate.
down into the unconscious, subconscious part of the mind. We will correct these limiting parts about you. Now, gets better. Remember I said the conscious mind judges?
Right.
Your subconscious mind does the opposite. It does not have the ability to judge. You can tell the subconscious mind anything you want to tell it. Smoke, don't smoke, weigh less, be broke, have $1 million. You could tell anything you want to tell this. Okay. Yeah, I can use more money. So not only are we changing your limiting beliefs, these old beliefs you have about you, but then we're also going to send reinforcements down here to match up to what you're really looking for, the beliefs you want.
Hmm.
So right now, it sounds weird, but your mind really is running you instead of you running your mind. Why is your mind running you? All these beliefs that you have, you've acquired these about you since you were about this high. Well, maybe this baby.
Hmm.
You got these from the time you popped out of mom.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't realize this. Think of your beliefs you have about you. They're like files in a computer. In fact, I replaced my hard drive here about a couple of years ago. Geek said, Ray, you got 13,000 files. I said, you're full of it. So no, you got 13,000 files. 3 words is a file, okay? Your beliefs are your files. When you're anywhere from, let's say, 4 right up to about 11, 12 years of age, all you knew was your environment, mom and dad, okay? Anything that went on there that you heard, you saw, you acted as is God's truth. You accepted as God's truth. Why? You had no reference point. That was your God and goddess, mom and dad, or whoever was actually putting the food in your mouth and keeping the rain off your head. So everything that was going on, you took as truth. Todd, you think money grows on trees? No, okay.
Think we own the electric company?
No, okay. And we accept this baloney like it's a truth. And we don't consciously know that we're accepting this as our belief system. But I guarantee you'll talk to anyone, you check out their belief system, you find out what their parents is, it's identical. Identical. We are a blueprint. Our subconscious mind is a blueprint of where we came from. But the cool part is, you don't like what got implanted, you can reprogram, just like you reprogram a computer, we can reprogram the unconscious, subconscious mind, which, if that's 20%, this is 80% of you. This is the creative part of you. True story. Had a lady, I was a Chamber of Commerce member, and lady also was in Toastmasters. You guys familiar with Toastmasters? Yeah, it's international. It's a speaking kind of club. And this young gal was so scared, she hid behind the podium because she was afraid to get up and speak in front of a very user-friendly crowd. So she wanted us to sitting next to me. She found out what I did for a living. So we started working on her issues. Confidence.
Right.
Not even confidence, she was minus confidence. So I worked with her for, I forget how many sessions, about 5, 10, I don't know. Disappears, comes back to my office about 8, 10 months later. Ray, I started my own business. I'm making $10,000 a month, and I owe it all to you. I went, shit, I'm not making $10,000 a month. True story.
Wow.
So to
So-
put this into perspective for the viewers, when I was talking with you to quit smoking, I remember mentioning, what all my triggers were. I woke up, I had a cup of coffee, I answered the phone, all of these things, I needed a cigarette with. And I
Mhm.
sat outside. When else do you smoke? I had a drink.
After you eat, after you
After
use the
you eat,
bathroom,
yeah, after you
Mhm.
eat,
after you
after
have
you drink, after you
sex.
sleep, all the time. So what we did was replace those with other thoughts,
Yeah. Yeah. Again,
and that's
I associated with the drink. Okay. Well, what would you like to replace it with? Drinking, or you want to have with a drink? Let's replace it with a walk. Okay.
Yep. I think I replaced mine with drinking water, more water.
Water. This
Um,
part accepts anything you want to tell it, anything and everything.
So I do this in my meditations on a regular basis. I figure out, I reflect on my life. Maybe the day before wasn't so good, and I'm doing my morning meditation, and I clear out all my thoughts, and then I'm just like, all right, let me reflect, and then something will just pop up. It's not that I'm actively searching it; it just comes up, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that any longer. So I'm going to that since that no longer serves me, I'm going to let that go, and it kind of feels like a file's being shoved out of my head, or like a window's being open and something's being pushed out, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to replace that with something, or sometimes I don't even replace it. I just get the negative limiting thought out, and I just am now free from it, and I don't even notice that maybe 3 days later I'll respond very differently than I would have if I didn't do it that way. But I didn't realize that I was doing these types of techniques to myself. Like
Yeah,
I put
cool.
myself into trance. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and let me pass something off to you guys and also your viewers too. Again, talking about hypnosis and mind control. All real hypnosis is self-hypnosis. You just proved it, Todd. You
Yeah.
proved it. And
is that
yeah,
because you're willing? When you're doing it to yourself, I mean, you're kind of automatically willing because you're doing it to
okay.
yourself. Is that why?
Well, when you and I worked together,
Mm-hmm.
were you willing? Yes.
Yes.
You followed my instructions, correct?
Yes.
But you were still following the instructions.
Yes.
So isn't all hypnosis
Right.
self-hypnosis?
I'm just saying if I didn't come to you and I was maybe trying to do those things to myself, then I'm a willing
But did you know
participant to
what to do
myself.
to yourself?
Yes.
Did you know what to do to
No,
yourself?
I
No.
mean, no.
Todd's doing things that has an
Right.
experiential thing going on that, okay, I want to let this go. I want to do this. Okay. Cool. And then there's some things that he's directly knowing what he's obviously a very self-actualized man, but he knows these are things that he doesn't necessarily want in his life. Okay.
Right.
Most people do not know how to correct what's down
Get to
here.
that point. That was my next question. Is like, can you explain the entire process of what you do when people come to you, your entire process from start to finish with a client? So the first thing would be the consultation to see what the issue is, and then where
Mhm.
do you go from there?
Find out, well, I first explain what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I explained to you guys, what is hypnosis, what it's not, what you expect, what you cannot expect. I explained how it affects the unconscious mind. Next thing, we find out, well, what are you looking for? What are you trying to create? Again, like for the last 3 years now, since you and I met, my niche now is basically solo entrepreneurs. Like, in fact, I'm currently writing a book about this right now. Why do most people fail their first year of business when they're starting out? Okay. I know they'll blame it, it's underfunded, it's the market, it's this. Take it to a higher level, but why?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's what I'm working on right now, to take a lot of entrepreneurs and realize, okay, we're here. let's go to a higher level. What's going on in here that you made all these bad choices that led to you dumping a business that you thought you wanted to go to? Okay. Right now, I currently work with anything from attorneys to insurance people to network marketers to
And is
speakers,
the majority online through Zoom
all of
these
it Zoom,
days?
all of it
Yep.
Zoom. It's funny,
I think when we did it, it was like the very beginning of Zoom, and like we were still like, how do we do this?
well, I found out I was one of the pioneers doing this on Zoom years ago. When I moved back to town here, I think I was doing some office shopping, and they want a lot of money for rent here at the time. I think Vegas is still going through a boom. So I stumbled onto Skype. I didn't even know Skype's still around
That's
anymore.
is that what we used? Maybe we Skyped. I think
Yeah.
we
Skype, yeah,
Skyped.
and it
Yep, I
was-
think you're
popular.
right.
And Skype was okay, but then they went through they reformatted their program, and even a tech support said no, they're abysmal. That came from a techie. Then this Zoom came along, made it even easier. So that was, I don't know, 10 years ago. Then all of a sudden we had the god awful COVID hit last year, and everybody's going online. But I've been doing this online for years.
Ahead of the curve.
I'm a pioneer. People go, can't you do that online? I said, well, can you hear me? Yeah.
Can you see me?
Can you see me? Yeah. Can you take a nice, long, slow, deep breath in? Yeah. As you relax, let your eyes close. Yes. Okay. So why not Zoom? I don't need to touch you. I don't,
Yeah, that's
Right.
that's what I do with when I meditate with people. I'm helping them. I'm taking deep breaths with them, and I'm talking to them, and finding out what's going on and how they're feeling, and then we're trying to get rid of those things, and I can kind of move energy through them and allow their own doing what you
Mm,
do essentially is you open up the pathway for everything else to come through that's already exists in their mind, but they're just holding it back for whatever reason.
mm. Yeah, it's the same process. So then to tie up what I was saying, that after we find out what the issues are, then we do in trance, we find out, then we do a release process. Then we go into the subconscious, we replace the stuff that's no longer serving them with positive, have reinforcements to that positive. And I work basically just focus with one issue at a time. It's in fact, what can you do? Can you help my focus? Can you help me get $1 million? Can you help? How about my love life too? How about one issue at a time? So yes. So it's just a process where we recognize, okay, go once again, go into the subconscious, reestablish new seeds. I call this almost like faith of a mustard seed. That's almost as spiritual as biblical. Plant that little seed there. We can feed that seed with repetition. I like making recordings. Each time you feed that seed with recording.
That was
once
my
again,
next question. Do all of your clients get a recording for
they want
homework?
it, you bet. I am now becoming thinner and thinner. I am now a non-smoker forever and ever. My sense of concentration is now getting stronger. Each and every time you in that altered state of consciousness tell yourself something that you wish to change. Each time, imagine adding a plus sign in there, adding a plus. Proven psychological fact that any image, idea, or concept that you allow to be implanted into for 30 days or more shall, will, and must become a habit without your approval or acknowledgement.
Hmm.
I used to go, I had an office across the street from the university, CSU. And I pretty much guaranteed I'll bring you up one grade level. If you're an F, I'll bring you to a D, D to a C. Never failed. Okay. So 30 days or more becomes a habit. That's becomes solidifying a habit. You made that habit with smoking, people make it with
Mhm.
drugs, people make it even forming a new money system in their mind, in their consciousness.
Now I remember that I had a different mantra each time. That, you know, if I wanted to smoke, I was to say this mantra to myself. If I was thinking about, you know, snacking, I had a mantra, a different mantra, but they both involved orange blossom, and I was just wondering where that came from, and if everyone uses that, or do you just choose something different for each person, or?
It's called keyword therapy. Basically, there's that word therapy. I said, I don't use therapy. Orange blossom, you can use Liberace, I don't care. I gave out this little cue. In fact, I think I made you make a cue card. Okay.
I found it.
Oh my God, you still have it?
Well, I don't know if I found it, but I found the email with the mantra in it. So
Okay.
I wrote it
Uh,
down.
Like I have people will, whatever I'm working on, I'll have them write up a little cue card, tape it
Mhm.
up on their desktop,
Yep,
on their
that's where I had
screens.
it. That's where I had
Okay.
it.
So you can have any word. There's a word I'll give you in this state of consciousness that you're going to take with you in the waking state. So you every time you see, oh, orange blossom, okay, I feel less hungry. Every time I see orange blossom, I feel my confidence growing. So it could be any word. It's just orange blossom. You know, it could be I love
Do
sex.
you
I don't
use
care.
other words for other people, or do you
Yeah,
use the
I
same
love sex.
thing, or?
I love sex. I'm joking.
Well, you know, I
Yeah,
don't know if that's good for certain clients.
it could be anything you want.
Trying to heal certain addictions, I guess that wouldn't be a good mantra.
Right? It
Right.
could be. It's just basically it could be any word that it's a neutral word that it's what it meant to you. Okay. I am now getting thinner and thinner. Orange blossom. I had them put that on a refrigerator. Every time that is also on the recording. So every time you've heard that in the recording, you think of orange blossom. Then you see those words on the refrigerator. Ah, I want the chocolate ice cream. Orange blossom. No, I don't want the chocolate ice cream. I go away. It springs a trigger inside of you.
Right.
It kind of reminds you of what you're building up inside of you. Sense?
That's yeah, that's very genius. And I see that when I look for God in everything. And when
I love that, brother. Thank you.
oh yeah,
I love
absolutely.
it.
Did you read my mantra? Is that why you're saying this? Oh,
No,
okay.
no, I did see that part, but no,
Okay.
but I see God in everything. So the way that I live my life now is I'm looking for signs from God everywhere. So
Mhm.
if I'm hearing the same phrase or I'm seeing and it's all in my subconscious, but I'm paying attention to it the best that I can. And when I see a certain phrase or hear a certain phrase multiple times in a day or in a few days, I'm like, okay, I got to go towards that. So in the same way, you're
Mm.
saying if I'm have something on my freezer, I want to lose weight, and we're saying orange blossom, and I have a picture of an orange blossom on my freezer. When I see that, I'm subconsciously, I might not even recognize I'm doing it, but I'm subconsciously going to see that and
There you go.
relate it to okay,
And turn
being
away from the fridge.
Let
yeah.
me give you
Yeah.
something, Todd. Serious note here. Okay. The subconscious, actually, I keep a diagram simple. And I love working with God-centered people because the subconscious mind is where God lives in us.
hmm
We actually have a third part of our
The
mind.
deep subconscious.
Well, you're close. You're very close. It's known as the super
Uh,
or supra. That is the highest, deepest level. That is the spot where you'll see the guy on a mountain 18 hours a day meditating.
Literally the G spot.
That's, yeah, literally there you go. The guy who
Got it.
meditates all day long, the crack addict, the alcoholic, everybody wants to ascribe to this homeostasis, the God consciousness. The part of it where we get rid of all this nonsense that we think is real. So we're all trying to go to the God part of us. And that's one thing that is located in the subconscious part of your mind, which makes this so much more exciting, especially when someone does have a sense of God. Okay, you don't like the word God? Swap it out. Call it dog backwards. I don't give a hoot. Call it spirit. A lot of people like the word spirit.
right.
Yeah.
The
Spirit,
essence
soul.
of what keeps you going is your God consciousness.
Right.
So
And that's where, I have a lot of spiritual people listen to my podcast. That's where your higher self lives, your true self, your God self. There's all these different terms for it, but that is your higher perspective, your highest perspective, that conscience that tells you, you shouldn't really do that. And then you ignore it, and then you do it, and then you realize the consequences of that result that you don't like. And you're like, I should have just listened to my conscience. And, that is where it's coming from.
Yeah, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. You asked for a funny story about, okay. Talk about habits you want to get rid of. Working like with anger, okay, which serves no one. One time, young guy comes to me, had a court order, got arrested for road rage. Court order, go get anger management or do jail time. So came to me,
Anger management.
anger management. So let's say here,
I could see him as the Nicholson.
Nicholson.
Yeah,
this
totally.
is funny. So imagine here.
You
So,
gotta dunk that shit.
so imagine the
I can see
No,
Ray
the-
doing that.
he had his court order, like this, had the, graph this. So I knew I had him by the short ones, okay? So I got clever. So I read what it was about. So evidently him and another kid about his age, mid-20s, they got into it. One did this, they did that, okay? They pulled over, started duking it out, okay? So he's the one who got flipped off. So I'm going like this. I'm sitting there. I have a question. What does this mean anyway to you? I mean, okay. Tell me more about that. He's going off, and the more he's going off, I'm still making sure he sees the court order in this one hand, right? I mean, screw you, it means it, and he's just foaming at the mouth and getting all carried away, right? And I'm just kind of smiling. I'm kind of like this. Can you put your finger down? Are you done? Yeah. I said, well, for one, everything you said is not true. What do you mean? I said, see this finger? Yeah. Doesn't mean that. I said, I was simply holding my finger up. Gosh, you're crazy. Yeah, I've been told that before, but you're the one here for anger management. So we did a process. Then I showed him this, and okay, showed his mind. Okay, that means the bad thing. What does it mean now? Well, you're pointing your finger right. Really? The same finger. We trained him, we trained his mind, we trained his emotions. So I think after about 4 or 5 sessions, one of flipping each other off, getting each other a hug, and
It was a
He
big
was a
old
free
joke
man.
then.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. It sounds like he had some trauma with that, and he didn't know that he did that. And a lot of us do this, is that we take our perspective and our definitions of things, and we think everybody else has the same exact perspective as us, and nobody has the perspective as any of us. And so when, someone's holding up the middle finger, like all those things that he's saying, it means this, it means that, it means that, and you say, no, it doesn't mean any of that. It just means that to you, but you don't have to believe it to mean that. And
exactly.
a lot of
When-
people struggle with getting to that point.
Again, this all comes down to, again, remember I told you, mom and dad? So a lot of people grew up with angry parents. Not one bad parent, but 2 angry parents. So guess what? You're watching them, you're 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. You're watching dad get drunk and throw stuff around. Oh, okay, that's the way to do it. You don't know. We don't know what we don't know about our behavior till we get to a point where we either get arrested for silly behavior, or we wind up not getting a job because we're acting out. We don't have control of the emotions. This actually gets us into a state where we're running our mind instead of the mind running us, is the best thing I like. That's the best way I can describe what this does. You're creating, you're deliberately, consciously creating your world. We're tapping into the God source and recreating what you really want, if that sizes it up for you.
Yeah, I talk about that all the time. When I was a kid growing up, not a kid, but a teenager, and I'm dating, and it wasn't until with Mimi now, maybe I think it was a relationship before Mimi, but it was like oh, I'm not supposed to do that. That's how I learned to live my life, was to yell at everybody and criticize them all the time. And I'm not supposed to do that. Like, it was like news to me, because that's how I always lived. Everyone around me did that. So that's what I learned. So it was like,
Mhm.
it was a huge surprise to me. Like, oh, normal, healthy, happy people aren't treating each other this way. It's a huge surprise when you realize not everybody is taught that way.
Right. And you don't
Right?
realize that until you see another relationship where that's not happening and their relationship is, strong and blossoming and you're like, "Well, wait, how did you do it that way when I'm trying to do it this way, the hard way, the mean way, the demanding
The
way."
way that
And
everyone
Todd, you
thinks.
brought up a good point. Many people do not realize, look like Johnny Cash with this thing. Howdy. People do not realize, because that's the way they oozed in, shall we say, into their reality. Every day, every moment, every day. This is and especially if you have no reference point. Oh,
Right.
that's the way it's supposed to be, you
Right.
know? So that's kind of the edited version, guys. But cool. If I wish I knew more of what we were going to do. I could have even done a group session, but perhaps another time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no worries. Do you want to tell us real quick how you got into hypnotism, how this became your life focus?
Yeah, actually, uh, probably when you guys were about this high, I
Knee high to a grasshopper.
remember seeing an ad in the paper in Long Island, and there was an ad said you learn how to use more of your mind. Hypnosis class is starting. And I did so bad in high school myself, I actually took this little itty bitty class, and that was I don't have the diploma up there. That was like 40 years ago. And then I didn't do much with it. Then about 22 years ago, I started going back to school. Then I had a buddy in Special Forces who was also in the Bay of Pigs. He knew some heavy duty mind stuff, which we won't go into now, but he started teaching me stuff. So I started pulling information from a lot of different schools, a lot of different training, and the rest is voila, here we are.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really interesting. So this is something that anyone, if they really want to focus on it, they can do this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray has
Mhm.
done some major subconscious sorcery and mind mechanics with me, and 100% I recommend him to everyone. I really do.
I do sorcery. I
When
actually
people
get
ask me, like, how
I
do
got my
I,
Harry Potter wand now.
yeah, how do
Oh,
I do this and how do I do that? Or how did you lose weight? Or how did you quit smoking? I'm like, let me give you an email. Let me give you a website. Let me give you somewhere to go on Facebook. Check it out.
So is there
I have so many people waiting for this episode already. They wanted me to do it live.
is there one particular characteristic that is the most difficult to get rid of, get over, and is there one that's most easiest to get over?
That's a good question.
uh, I'll answer that on a very basic way. The greater the intent, Todd, the easier it's going to be.
Mm.
In fact, you did one of the hardest things, smoking. I just worked with a person in their 60s, and they're my age. They were doing crack for a long time. I mean,
Wow.
hardcore crack on top of cigarettes. And they said, Ray, I don't want to die this way. Big biker dude, in one of the gangster motorcycle clubs. So he got out of that, and then he wanted to clean up the time he had left. But what's harder than crack? His desire was so strong that it worked. Yeah, I've worked with people who, basically they thought they wanted something. The greater your desire, I don't want to say it's going to be easy. There's no magic bullets. My magic wand doesn't work with hypnosis, but it helps. Your desire,
Yeah, I do believe that intent is very important.
your intention,
And
your desire, your level of desire will determine your success.
Yeah, the hardest
It-
part of like quitting smoking, or the hardest part of anything, is telling yourself that it's so hard to do. That's what makes it hard.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think that there's a lot of downtime, a lot of in between time where our mind is running. That background program is running in our mind, and we don't know how to occupy ourselves. When I was an addict, the biggest driving force for me was I was always bored if I was sober. And I was like, ooh, I don't want to be sober. It's gross. I want to,
Mhm.
I want to be high while I'm doing it at least, because then the noise goes to a minimum and that background program isn't
Yep.
so loud. So I think a lot of people struggle with addiction, whether it's food, eating at certain times, whether it's porn, whether it's a drug, a cigarette,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
it's all about that background program. And do you have a technique that you tell people to do when they have those thoughts? As what? Well, first, can you get them to recognize they're having those thoughts and that they can let them go?
Well, that's part of the process, what I do,
Okay.
Todd.
Right, of
That's
replacing.
discussed in sessions.
Okay.
In other words, I actually go back to, okay, people
He goes
don't want to
way
lose
back.
weight. They want to feel good. People uh, don't necessarily want to be drug free. They want to experience a clean life. They want to experience a higher consciousness. So basically, I have a process where we go to the initial event. Okay, we find out what made you resort to this,
Hmm.
what made you resort to whatever drug you resorted to, what made you resort to drinking, what made you resort to cigarettes. And I go to the initial event, and sometimes it's a simple, oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, and in the subconscious mind, we're able to explore where consciously just speaking to people could take years, where this you can find out in one session. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Find out what the knowing is. Then we go to release what no longer serves our highest good.
And I
Oh,
think that second to addiction probably is self-love. I think that's a big thing that people struggle with, and that does go way back.
do people
Mhm.
You
come to
know,
you for self-love? I didn't even think
absolutely
that.
they
The
do.
essence of my work is
Absolutely
four
they do.
things: love, self-love, forgiveness, and
Forgiveness.
self-forgiveness.
Yes.
Okay.
Those four things, you mix them up together, you got it made.
Yeah, you can cure anything. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
forgiveness and self-love are I think everybody could use a session in those
Oh
two
yeah.
things. Everyone everywhere.
Like
Yeah.
probably once a month at least.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
we
it's
end up there's so much bullshit in this world
thrown at you all
that it
day.
just sticks on us, and it's little things. And I do a fairly good job of letting things go. I get cut off in traffic, whatever. It's not a big deal. I let it go. But after a certain amount of time, even the best of us can't. We have
Get a
difficult
little road
days.
rage.
We get the static feeling rather than the nice smooth feeling. It feels like the universe does this to pull it out of us at certain times, that God is doing this to us because he doesn't want us to have it, and in order to get rid of it we have to observe
Mm.
the behavior to then let it go.
Well, one thing that helps in the beginning, I'll pass up and off you guys and also your listeners. Uh, when we forgive, put this in your head. It has nothing to do with the other person.
Mm-hmm.
People think, "Oh, I forgive you." They think they're being pious. Stop. No, no. This is all about forgiveness. Is the most selfish act that you can do. And selfish, people think you're selfish. Doesn't mean being greedy. Selfish means care for the self. Care for the self. In fact, I'll share a story with you. I share it with most of my clients. What put me on the path I'm on years ago? I was in an airport going back to beat the hell out of somebody. Stole my woman. Mad. It wasn't so enlightened many years ago. Bought a coffee, waiting for my plane. Went to put my coffee on the floor, sitting in the airport. And beneath my chair was a rolled up paperback, and it was on forgiveness. And it was kind of cool. I don't do religion in my practice, but I do spirit, I do God. And it was a very spiritual based book. And she talked about who the master of forgiveness was. And it's Jesus. Not that, oh, he's Christian. No. Jesus was an avatar. Buddha was an avatar, teacher. She said Jesus talked about forgiveness in the way this way it was described to me. We don't forgive for the other person. We forgive to release ourselves of the hate, the rage, the embarrassment, the shame, all this shit that's really gives us skin rashes, insomnia, cancers, disease. This is why we want to release this stuff so we can have a loving, productive life. And then in the story, the lady, I guess this was the second edition of her book, she said, no matter what, if you want the life you say you want to live, you must forgive. So there she was, and wrote in the book, she just got done saying, you want this life of bliss, love, you must forgive. There she's doing a book signing. And you know, when you're signing a book, you're like this, right? And she hears this voice with a heavy German accent. Ja, Fräulein, we must forgive. She looks up, she turns white as a ghost. Well, it turns out that she was in Auschwitz when she was a child with her sister. And every day she got to watch her sister being raped by one of the guards. Guess who this cat was holding his hand after shake hers?
The guard.
The guard. Did she
Wow.
shake his hand?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not about the person, it's about releasing yourself. So give
Right.
that.
Remember one of our sessions
That's
was
tough.
you talked about forgiving certain adults in my life for not knowing what they did not know. And that sounds simple. And it is simple, but it's very powerful to forgive somebody for not knowing what they don't know.
Mhm.
You're mad at them for something that they don't know.
You don't know.
They don't know.
And speaking the words is very powerful. Just
Right.
you speaking it to yourself when you have something as traumatic as what you were just describing, you know, that is an insanely traumatic event. That could drive someone insane, literally.
Yeah.
And just to speak those words to yourself when you're going through something like that, it's very powerful. And then to be able to practice forgiveness. And you know, it goes back to war just begets more war, hate begets more hate, and at some point the cycle has to be ended by somebody stopping the cycle. You know, there's always
Right.
two people in the dance,
Exactly.
and one person's got to step out in order for it to stop.
Exactly. And then some people think they're giving something up by forgiving. Okay. Well, then you have to ask yourself if it's holding on. Okay, holding on to hatred of a parent. That happens a lot. A mom or dad. Okay, how is that serving you? Well, it's not. Okay. Your choice to let it go.
Yeah, it's like carrying some clothes with you that don't fit you any longer, and they have holes in them, and you know they're no good. You're like, why do you have them? I don't know. I don't know how to get rid of it. How do I get rid of it? Well, just let it go.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like to say release more than I like to say let it go, because I
Release.
feel like let it go is so like everybody always says like let it go, let it go. How do I
Oh,
just
that-
let
that-
it
that was-
go?
That
And if you
Disney-
say
the
you
Disney
need to
mo-
release it, then they're like, oh, I need to
the Disney
release
movie.
it.
And I actually have a process where I take people through in a forgiveness process, which is very powerful. But
Yeah.
again, you want to raise your vibrations, you want to connect more to God, let that shit go, release it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know? Well, guys, I'm gonna be off to, speaking of hypnotizing people.
Yeah, this was a great episode. So,
Yes.
do you want to tell our audience where they can find you?
Yeah, actually, I'm having a brand new spiffy site put up. You can reach me at http:// TheRayWilliams.com.
The Ray Williams, THE.
TheRayWilliams.com.
All right, and we
Yeah.
will have that in the show notes. And I want to thank you so much for coming on. This was an excellent conversation. And
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
yeah,
Thank you so much, Ray, for so many things.
Well, let's chat again. Really, it's been fun. Good to see your face again.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, and we will say goodbye to the audience. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.